Ghana, where in 2022 we produced 85 tons of course.
Sorry, what?
85.
And China produced
374.
300.
in the same year.
Not 3.74.
No, 374 tons. Millions of ounces, so because
And
85 tons is like ours is like 1/4 of what they do.
And they're still here, girl, I'm saying. Wow. Good morning.
Interesting. Interesting.
So you Ghanaians who are collaborating with Chinese to destroy our environment,
We
and
should be very
I've
ashamed.
seen their laws on mining
We should be very ashamed.
seriously strict. So yeah, some stats for you this morning. Good morning, welcome to the show. Hope your day is as bright as the smile on the faces of Valerie and Thelma. As for me, I'll be hanging with the Sheikh and the lawyer / energy expert / politician on headlines. Mr. Kwame Jantwa and Sheikh Adamia Shaibu are my guests to look into what's happening in the news. What about you ladies?
There is a national rice fair that will be happening. You know, we are trying to cut down on our importation of some items, and rice is one of them.
Okay.
Many communities are going into rice farming. There's a national rice fair. It will offer some answers to those who want to get into rice farming, and even provide us with a roadmap to weaning ourselves off rice that we are importing. So you would want to stay around for that conversation on rice, a national rice festival. So that's going to be coming up. And there's a celebration, the Knights of St. John International. They have an anniversary coming up, and they'll be sitting with us to tell us, invite us to that anniversary. Maybe you can be a knight in shining armor.
Okay.
I'm a day. Let's go.
Yeah, you're a day. But at the end of the show, I'm going to have EFYA, a fear.
You can't carry a tune in it.
Yes, but guys.
Don't mind it. That was good.
Yeah. So guys, what's your favorite Efia song? What question do you want to ask Efia? What do you want to know? Be as curious as we'll be today. So stay tuned, and we are very active on our WhatsApp. It's
05555 and follow our social media handles. GTV Ghana, all of you are coming at us with all kinds.
This is great.
We are matching you boot for boot.
You know what, we should just declare today International Efia Day and then drop her
yes,
videos one by one.
one by one, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So hey
Why not?
guys, International EFYA Day.
EBSO.
Every
We've got
day.
tasty wheat salad with avocado for breakfast in about 31 minutes.
That's
We've
why
got,
Maltiti came to work today.
yes, indeed. And we've got sports at 7 o'clock with the same.
Before that, we have Dr. and Mrs. Otutaria. They've been watching us from day one.
Okay.
Guys, and they are on the beat every day.
Thank you for the words so sweet. We dedicate the news to you, Dr.
Yeah,
and Mrs.
yeah.
All right, here comes Maltiti. Good morning. Welcome.
And thank you for joining us on GTV Breakfast News. I am Maltiti Saida Sadek on social media at Maltiti Official. We're streaming live on our social media handles as well at GTV Ghana on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, on your favorite social media platform, TikTok as well. You can find us at GTV Ghana. News making headlines this morning. We're starting off from the 2021 Auditor General's report, and the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odrosai, says the refusal on the part of the chief executives to implement recommendations made by internal auditors in their quarterly report is one of the major challenges the agency faces. He said government is working on the new Internal Audit Agency bill, which would empower them to keep CEOs on their toes to comply with recommendations made. He urged them to be involved in the entrance and exit meetings after an external auditor's visit. Dr. Odrosai said this at a report presentation on infractions in the 2021 Auditor General's report to government by SIGA in Accra.
Almost 23,000 cases.
To provide advisory and assurance services. The challenge we have is that most of you do not attend audit committee meetings. At a certain time, when the internal
we received 2.9 million dosages of the cholera vaccine. As we speak, we have about 40,000 left. It means Malawians avail themselves for the vaccine. What is worrying, however, is that those that receive the vaccine are not the ones at high risk. Those that are in high risk are proving difficult to convince to take the vaccine.
And directive for Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, we are not happy if we see these infractions increasing. Our KPIs is to work to reduce these infractions. So every time the Auditor General releases the report and the infractions are increasing, it means there is something fundamentally wrong with the system. Either the internal auditors are not working, audit committees are not working, or they are working and chief executives are not listening to them. But thankfully, government is working on the new internal audit agency bill. So that bill will help us to push you to implement the recommendation. My advice is that please sit with your internal auditors. They are supposed to develop a work plan for 2023 that will support you to deliver on your mandate. Let them show you your work plan. Let them identify the trust areas. And the work plan are supposed to be conducted in accordance with a risk assessment they do on your organization. And under the Public Financial Management Act, fiscal risk is very important.
Sale of finance management by state institutions. Former Auditor General Daniel Yao Demelovo called for more severe sanctions against people who mismanage state funds. In his view, the norm where the infractions are merely reported in the audit report with little to no consequence for the culprits needs to change immediately. He was speaking on GBC's Current Affairs program Focus. The former Auditor General, Mr. Daniel Demelovo, believes prosecution is the best punitive measure for the people who mismanage public funds.
I think we are getting wrong as a country is that people who misapply or misappropriate public funds get away with it every time. There are no consequences for abuse of public funds. Hence, year in, year out, we get Auditor General's report, and it is replete with so many wrongdoings, some of them mind-boggling, but then at the end of the day, nothing happens. Surcharge is one of the mechanisms, but I don't think it is enough. Because if people know that I abuse public funds, and if I'm found out, I will be made to pay it back, they will always play games with public funds. There must be other punitive measures, such as prosecution. Because if it's as simple as this, if we found a gentleman or a lady who goes in to steal somebody's mobile phone, if he or she returns it, they still prosecute him. Is that not it?
Yes.
Why is it that public funds, when you return it or it is taken away from you, then that ends the route or the journey? It is my expectation that the Special Prosecutor's Office can collaborate with the Auditor General, so that they can train staff of the Auditor General even to gather sufficient evidence for the Office of the Special Prosecutor to do prosecution. Because if the Auditor General is charging and collecting the money, and the Special Prosecutor or the Attorney General also start prosecuting people, and we find 2, 3, 4 people being jailed or fined on top of the money that has been collected from them, I think it will bring deterrence in the system, so that people will stop misbehaving and playing the fool with public funds.
Let's take you to the courts now. One of 3 accused persons standing trial for the alleged role in the disturbances during the NDC's National Youth Organizer and Women Wing Congress has changed his plea of guilty to prohibition of vigilante groups and activities. Mr. Dauda Mohammed was arraigned on January 10, 2020. Representation, and after pleading guilty, the court convicted him on his own plea and deferred sentencing to Wednesday, January 25, 2023. However, the accused person, who is now legally represented by Madame Beatrice Anamfio, had his plea retaken during Wednesday morning's hearing.
Lawyer for Mr. Dauda Mohammed, Madam Beatrice Anangfio, urged the court to set aside the previous proceeding pursuant to Section 199 of Act 30. It was her submission that at the time the accused person pleaded guilty to the charges, he did not know that it was a judicial confession and was also waiving his right. Madame Anangfio, in her submission, said that the accused did not appreciate the plea of guilty simpliciter, adding that the charge was not explained to him by a certified Hausa interpreter. She argued that the accused person would be denied justice if his plea was not retaken. Prosecuting Superintendent of Police Mr. Sylvester Asari opposed the submission of the defense, contending the jurisdiction of the court to set aside its conviction. After hearing the arguments of both parties, the judge, Mr. Samuel Bright Aqua, ruled that the court erred in allowing the accused to take his plea when it was not properly explained to him, and therefore allowing the request of the defense. Mr. Dauda Mohammed and the two other accomplices, Mr. Abdul Halid Shaibu and Mr. Razak Ibrahim, have each been admitted to bail in the sum of 50,000 cedis, with two sureties who should be public servants earning not less than 2,000 cedis. The sureties should reside within the jurisdiction of the court. The accused have been ordered to report to the police twice a week. The three accused persons are a part of some 16 persons on the wanted list of the police for allegedly causing disturbances at the Congress held in December 2022 in Cape Coast in the Central Region. 3 persons sustained injuries while some property was destroyed during the violence. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, Mr. George Opariado, who was in court, said the accused persons are not vigilantes to warrant their prosecution. According to him, they are party faithful.
The National Democratic Congress NDC has defended its decision to shake up its leadership in Parliament. The party says persons who ought to be consulted were duly engaged. The General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress NDC, Mr. Fifi Kwete, speaking on GBC's Current Affairs program Focus, said the party is building on the past to improve the future, urging party faithfuls to embrace and appreciate the change.
Contributing different ways to help in the interest of our party. Haruna clearly has done a fantastic job over the last 6 years leading the minority in Parliament. There are other ways in which his experience, his expertise can still be deployed. He can still play very key roles, as have always been the case. Just like a football team, we can always be deployed in order to make sure our expertise, our experience is used in different places. A great team and a successful team is one that's always looking at the collective interests of the team rather than individuals. So when it is that it requires that different approaches are used, and then the redeployment are done as part of the reorganization of the party towards boosting our chances collectively, I think it should be understood. Quite a number of great things has been done by the group that has been in charge. So this new group clearly will be standing on the shoulders of the old in order to be able to see how they can help take this party to the next level. New approaches, new strategies, new ideas clearly will be brought into our approach towards boosting our chances for 2024. So these are all have been considered, and I'm sure after all the dust is settled, most people will appreciate that this is a decision that is having the collective interest of the party in view, and it's not at all targeted as any individuals, as some have sought to portray.
Let's take you to Asante Mampong. Residents of Anglogano Forikrum near Kumasi in the Ashanti region have complained about the slow pace of work on a concrete bridge over River Sisa. Their concern is that the narrow nature of the makeshift bridge poses danger to residents and children who commute to school using the bridge.
A group of people demonstrated against the bridge because of a lack of infrastructure in our area. I can see that this bridge is very, very important and is dear to our hearts so far as the community is concerned. because you can't do away without this kind of bridge, because school children normally used to pass this place, traders and the likes. So you can see that he claimed a life, I think 1.5 years ago, and we have taken steps in order to make sure that the right thing is being done. I think unfortunately we agreed on a contract that they should come and construct a bridge for last year, November. But because of lack of funds, we were waiting for funds to come. By glory be to God, the money has come and they have awarded the contract. And here is the case, the contractor have already commenced work, and work is moving on speedily. I presume by 2 months' time, the bridge will be ready for the people to use, since the work that the contractor is doing is going on faster. Because very soon it will start raining and my people will be in difficulties. So the contractor is doing all what he can in order that work is being done at the right time, so that my people can access the bridge, so that the children can be able to go to school, the traders can also cross from the other side to for smoothly business to be done.
Let's take you to the Ashanti region. So the Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata, has visited Asante Mampong to see for himself the nature of the damage caused to a portion of the Kumasi-Ejure-Tebubu highway. This was to enable his ministry to decide on the best way to repair the road to make it motorable again. Motorists, especially drivers of heavy-duty vehicles, have for some months now been circumventing the Mampong town through an alternate route, but that has created a lot of inconvenience.
From the Ashanti regional capital Kumasi and connect Asante Mampong, Ejura and Atebubu through the Bono East district before linking the stretch to Yeji, also in the Bono East region. It is therefore one of the major road corridors in the country, considering the major socio-economic activities in those areas. The road was constructed by Interbeton in the late 1980s. It has since not experienced any major repair works, but remains one of the most durable roads in the country. A narrow bridge under the stretch around Mampong got damaged more than 6 months ago during the raining season last year. The road was then diverted from the main Mampong town during the construction to address congestion and inconvenience within the township created by the diversion. There are no signs warning motorists about the danger close to the damaged bridge area. GBC News reported on this problem about a month ago, but it remains unattended to, even at the time of the minister's visit. The Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata, visited the site to ascertain the extent of the damage caused to the road and the inconveniences being caused to road users, to enable the ministry to decide on the best remedial action to restore the highway to its original status. The minister and its entourage had earlier paid a courtesy call on the Mamponghini, Dasibre Osebonsu, and the Queen Mother at their palace. The Mamponghini seized the opportunity to highlight some major problems with roads within his paramountcy that require urgent attention. These include the road that leads to the water treatment dam.
Trucks didn't road near Mako. Chlorine, echo dam. The highway is there at the Honda. And near Sabi Wajuma. Na dam no, Mr. Mo contractor, MCU, MP Swaba. Enkeno, Maninkomi, Pebibi, Okasa, and Famano non to us, no new.
The roads minister assured the chiefs and people of Mampong that those roads will be worked on. One of those roads connects Krobo, which is the hometown of the late Lieutenant General Kwesi Amankwa Efrifa.
There were so many kinds of bridges, different spans. You bet me a nany or engineers doing eba now only the one green ebana a green saya. That's it, with better chairman so the marshal boss and then it's ya be connected sa road no.
And it's been 6 months of no premixed fuel. Fishermen at the Tema Fishing Harbour yesterday heaved a sigh of relief when the harbour received 3 trucks of the product. The fishers resorted to the use of petrol and diesel some months ago, but that came at a huge cost to them. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Diwanu has been to the fishing harbour and has more in this report.
Now, GBC News has maintained its reportage on the shortage of premixed fuel. Just last week, the chief fisherman told us that there's shortage close to 5 to 6 months now. They are not having premixed fuel, and also the premix has been increased from 10 cedis to 25 cedis a gallon. And here in Tema, this morning we had a hint that they've received some premixed fuel, and we have come here to see how the disbursement is. We want to find out how many trucks have come and how sufficient it would be for the fishermen, and the sustainability and how consistent it's going to be coming now, because the shortage has been of a major concern to fisher folks here in Tema, not only here in Tema but across landing beaches in the country. We are joined by chief fisherman to explain to us how many have come and how they are doing the distribution and how sustainable it's going to be. You are welcome to GBC News.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, any receive in terms of trucks.
Dromana wana 3 tankers, which is 13.5, 25.3. Okay. No, you know, Dromana wana yatama.
Oh, okay. How are you going to share jamo and how are you going to do it?
Oh, bianele jamo balagasi sani wokwe panawule ke meni ya go kame ke meni ya lagase. Abone menemi ya polue ke wasawo san wo kwebini wajale won ame obebela sikeji we go kame saruna to 20 gallons simoni ya to 3 days sanina to 40 ni moni ya polue ni kwa ya ni ba le sanla we na to 30 abone moni ya a 1 seed jele ai 1 week sanina 1 drum ni 1 drum is about 70 gallons. Nakajibini wonjala lo mo fe mo ni odo e wo mani mayor ke wo kasa ba oni wo ke kasa ba on because keju obeki nu bia ne esa do ba premise
in the 3 tracks ni ba ne how many days ne about last can hanye
oh keji okwena ye by 3 hours to 4 hours me ba ta no bia ne
any promise or any assurance ke eko ba
bia ne no ni ba ne wo hie ka wo no akisi baba lokeji ekuleko baba baja wo twa meyo ne wo bila akisi me gbaja no to yo eko nke ha aga ne wo hie ka no akisi nya bi no baba yes.
The queue over there is a premise we are selling. It is a first day, so a lot are eager to get some to do fishing. That's why you are seeing a lot of people. That's how it will be. But gradually, we are putting things in position, but gradually it will stop. The queue will stop. So I think we have started getting the premix. Yeah.
According to the chief fisherman, this particular premix that have come, they were really not expecting, but 3 trucks have arrived, and they would be consulting with the Metropolitan Chief Executive to find out when they will be receiving the next batch. For GBC News, my name is Michael Diwanu, reporting from Tema Fishing Harbour.
And away from the story that is GBC getting results with the premixed fuel in Tema, let's take you to the Western region. A cocoa producing community in the Presiahone Valley municipality of the Western region has been rewarded with a junior high school block and an ICT center for continuously increasing their output and keeping faith with their licensed buying company.
It has been described as the single most important intervention as it gives equal opportunity to all to meet their aspirations in life. However, in most rural and remote communities of the country, access to education is seriously challenged. In most of those places, the school infrastructure are in very bad condition, while the schools lack the requisite teaching and learning materials, and this serves as disincentive to education in such communities. It is to address the challenge and encourage education in the rural areas that Federated Commodities, a licensed cocoa buying company, in collaboration with its partners, Walter Mata and Verona, is rewarding cocoa communities it works with school infrastructure. This is to promote education and ensure that children of cocoa farmers get the best of education. The company has provided a new JHS block with fully furnished ICT center and a washroom with water system to the PSO community. The headmaster of the school, Mr. Erikuma Lecha, was appreciative of the support.
We are happy that today they have commissioned it and we're going to hand it over to us.
The managing director of Federated Commodities, Mrs. Maria Damuzibu, was hopeful enrollment would increase and the children would stay in school to complete their education.
Make sure that we have on our side given all the necessary facilities, and we've seen situations where the attendance has doubled. Suddenly you see everybody wants to go to the new school that has been built, which is normal.
And let's take you to the Bono East. Some unfortunate news where there are plans to put up a school building at Atika Gome in the Sene East district of the Bono East region. The local authority assures that the facility will be constructed before the end of 2023. This follows the drowning of 8 pupils in the Volta Lake while traveling to school in a nearby community of Wayokope. The local government is appealing for assistance in terms of infrastructure and teachers.
On Tuesday, January 24, 2023, there were reports that 8 school children from the Atika Gome community in the Sene East district of the Bono East region have drowned when the boat transporting them to school capsized on the Volta Lake. The deceased were among 20 school children in the boat who were traveling from Atika Gome to Wayokope, where their school is located. According to NADMO officials, the deceased are made up of 5 boys and 3 girls between the ages of 5 and 12. Earlier, our Bono East regional correspondent, Mr. Samuel Ayama, who visited the area, reported that the family of the victims have been notified and the bodies have been identified and buried.
The Sene East District NADMO director, he has been on the ground since the day the incident happened. And they are thinking, they are still putting their figures together and then assessing the situation to see what they can do to support the bereaved families and also make sure maybe it doesn't occur again. The residents said this is not the first time, and they believe that this will not also be the last if a solution or like innovative measures are not put in place.
Now, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Samira Bawumia, has inaugurated a 30-seater library at Kanda class of schools in Accra. The project forms part of the Library in the Box initiative to improve literacy, critical thinking, and promotes the culture of reading to unlock cognitive skills among pupils. It is spearheaded by the Samira Empowerment and Humanitarian Project.
That many primary school children across sub-Saharan Africa are unable to read well. This is attributed to lack of libraries and access to reading materials to stimulate creativity and love for reading among children. To improve literacy among children and whip their interest in reading, the Samira Empowerment and Humanitarian Project SEHP has so far donated over 200,000 books to 64 basic schools across the country. As part of the Library in the Box project, a library and research center has been inaugurated for the Kanda cluster of schools. Mrs. Samira Bawumia, the financier of the project, said the best way to develop the horizon of school children is to encourage them to read wide.
This Learning and Literacy Center is not just a place for pupils to study and read. It is a place where students can come to discover new ideas, perspectives, and ways of thinking. It is a place where students can come to find inspiration, guidance, and support as they pursue their academic and personal goals.
The Deputy Minister for Education, Madam Gifty Chum Ampofo, said education is the bedrock on which every nation thrives, hence the need for parents to concentrate more on their children's education.
Parents, we expect that as you live with your children, even before they start school, you speak positive attitudes into the lives of your children, and you continue to guide and guard your children, even though, yes, I believe that as parents are chasing money, chasing wealth, chasing positions and others to make children comfortable. It is still incumbent upon parents to have a good look at their children's education and their conduct.
The Regional Director for Education, Mr. Stephen Abamfo, commended the Kanda cluster of schools for their performance both morally and academically. The Chief Executive of the Ghana Library Authority, Mr. Hayford Siao, pledged his outfit support to help achieve the aim of the Samira Empowerment and Humanitarian Project. The Ayawasu East Municipal Director of Education, Mrs. Adisa Tassa, advised parents to spend quality time with their wards.
Let's take it to the international front. In Africa, a cholera outbreak in Malawi has killed more than 1,000 people as the country ran out of vaccines. The Southern African nation has been battling its worst cholera outbreak on record, with more than 30,600 people infected since the first cases were reported last year. In November, it received almost 3 million doses of oral cholera vaccine from the United Nations to step up its immunization campaign. But case numbers continue to rise. The death toll reached 1,002. Let's bring you the interbank rates and how the commodities are doing on the market. Felicity joins us on the phone lines. Good morning, Felicity.
Good morning, Multiply.
Good day by the weather across the country?
Yes, we are having good day. We are having relaxation in the Harmattan conditions.
Right. Give us the details.
Okay, thanks so much, and good morning to our viewers and listeners. For today, Thursday, 26th of January 2023, Greater Accra, we expect this morning to be partly cloudy, likewise those of us over central and western regions. In the afternoon, we expect the sun to set in, and then we expect temperatures to go as high as 33 over Greater Accra, central and part of western region. Over the Ashanti region, currently we are having misty conditions with visibilities around 4,000, 5,000 meters. Likewise, those of us around Ebri, part of the whole, that if you are traveling from Accra to Peki, Adidome areas, we are having misty conditions with visibility around 6,000 meters. We expect it to clear by mid-morning. Likewise, if you are on the route to Sunyani, Techimai, we also expect misty conditions this morning. Also, we are likely to see foggy, but by the sunrise, we expect it to start lifting. For temperatures in the afternoon over Kumasi, also in this environment, we expect it to range between 34 and 36 degrees Celsius. Over the north, it will still be dry and slightly hazy with improved visibility. We expect it to range between 4,000 to 10,000 meters or 4 kilometers to 10 kilometers. For the state of the sea, we expect it to remain calm, but we are having rain and thunder clouds over the sea. Fisher folks can go for fishing, but they have to do it with caution. The water lake this morning is also pretty cool for fishing activities, but late afternoon into the evening hours, we expect thunder clouds to form, which is likely to pose a danger. So if we want to go out for fishing over the Water Lake, especially those of us around Pando area down to Kwame Danso areas, they have to be extra careful. They have our numbers, so they should call for confirmation before they set out for fishing if they want to do late afternoon to evening fishing activities. So in a nutshell, that is how we expect it to be.
Ahead of the drowning of 8 children on the Volta Lake, and we're calling for more life jackets to be given. The weather contributes to how rough the lake is, right?
Yes, it contributes. That's why every time we try as much as possible to be giving out the conditions. So those around there that use the marine, the water, they have to pay attention to the weather forecast that we are giving. And to put it to use, they should not just conclude that maybe it will not happen.
Right.
We are watching. We have all the gadgets that we are trying our best to make sure that we save lives and property.
Okay. Thank you so much, Felicity Ahafenyo, for joining us with the weather updates as usual, as we do Mondays to Fridays on GTV Breakfast News. I am Maltiti Saida Sadek. We have a packed show for you. Up next, we're cooking and we're bringing you tasty wheat salad with our favorite chef, Chef Thelma. Later on the headlines, the Sheikh and the energy experts will be on the show, and also it's National Rice Fair. So stay with GTV Breakfast. I'll be back at 7 with sports.